Hey everyone, it's Kelly Dawn here, and I have my amazing client Christine with me today because we are going to be talking about what has been happening in her business over the past 3 months. And I am so fucking excited to share this woman with you. I'm giddy. We just got off a coaching call. Her business is going to blow the fuck up next year. And yeah, we're going to dive into what's been happening with her business and her money mindset. So, hey, Christine. Hello, hello.
Hello.
I'm so excited to talk to you. Okay, let's jump right in. Can you share with people what was going on with your business in terms of how much money you were making when we first started working together back in October?
Yeah, so when we first started in October, I actually was going through a kind of low period. I had a really, really bad September. And that was also around the time where I just decided to jump onto the online space to actually revamp, change my business around and impact people through the online space rather than actually working at a gym. So that was quite intense. I was relying on my family to actually help me pay bills and rent and dipping into my savings. I literally was earning less, just about 2,000 or maybe less than 2,000 a month, which is definitely not enough to even cover my rent.
Cool. And where are you now in your business?
So now it's really exciting. So I just hit my biggest month yet, and I cannot believe it. It was insane just looking at the amount and looking at making sure and counting every single thing all over again, recounting each time, being like, is this right? Is this number correct? Like what? I would say it's definitely my biggest month ever. And that includes like receiving income from allowance from the parents to help me out, or at one point during COVID the government was kind of helping me as well because obviously I couldn't work at the gym. it, Even including all of that, it is my biggest month in total in my entire life.
Amazing. And you feel pretty good as far as like money, sales, all that stuff. How has that relationship changed?
I would say the relationship change with money was huge. I used to, even though I had a steady income in a previous job in hospitality, I used to hold on to money and really count money and even try to justify for to like as if I was talking to a judge or a lawyer, or why am I spending this amount of money? And even if I had savings, it was like, I really need this item, this thing is falling apart, and yet I still needed to justify it because I always thought that money needed to be held to save for a rainy day, when I didn't even know what rainy day truly meant. And now my mindset of money has changed. I literally was like, oh, I need a new table because I would love to be able to have more movement now that I'm working in a home office. I just got it. I was like, yeah, okay, it was on sale, but I'm just gonna get it. I didn't even justify anything. And it was really good in terms of being able to understand that there is a flow, there is energy, and actually truly understanding it and being friends with money. And that's great.
Oh, love that. Yeah, because it's like the relationship that we have with it. And I remember some of our earlier conversations around like savings. It's like, okay, this is what I have in savings. And so many people focus on that. They're like, this is all the money I have coming in. This is all the money I have in savings. And the question I ask everyone's like, well, what if we just made the money? What if we just made more money? And then you end up doing, what was it, 18K in sales in 3 days or something wild like that?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
it was something ridiculous. I think it was definitely 18K in total in like the entire month, and it was about 9K in like almost 10K in 3 days or something, which was just, for me, that's like I'm still in shock. I'm still like, I need to go back and look at my numbers.
Yeah, I remember when you said like we were on Vox there and you're like, I think I just had a 5-figure month because it was like your first 10K month was like the next month, I think, after we started.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so we started in October, and then I had an almost 10K month, which I guess is close enough to consider. And I was like, what's happening? So it was almost, but not quite. And I was like, oh, what's happening? And then we worked a little bit more, and then I hit it. And I was like, what just happened?
Things move quick. And what do you think changed in terms of like showing up for your audience and how you feel as far as putting yourself out there in your business?
I remember all the conversations we had, and and it was definitely step by step, where it was like, okay, I'm just gonna show up without any expectations and keeping to what was still outside my comfort zone, but enough for me to be able to still show up. Now I'm considering things that was definite heck no from me. Like it at one point in even like a month or two ago, it was like, no, that's not a thing. That's no, I'm definitely not going to do that. And now I'm like, hey Kelly, I think I'm being called to do a podcast.
That was music to my ears when I got that message. I was like, holy fuck, yes. Yeah, podcasting, man, it's going to blow up your business for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And this has changed so much from someone who could barely think of putting up a picture of myself or a picture of what I was currently doing and a post following it. I could barely do that. And now I'm showing up and I'm just putting videos out there in my groups, on my page, making stories. That was definitely not a thing for a very long time there. And now a podcast, and I'm just sometimes I'm wondering, who am I?
Yeah, you've grown like so fast, so quickly. Like the momentum that you've created in your business, I've never seen anything like it. You're like phenomenal. What do you think is like the biggest thing in terms of like mindset, especially around money, that really helped you go from like 2K months to 5-figure months? What was like that big, was there something specific or like a
It
big thing that you can think of?
it was terrifying, but so good at the same time. I remember it was quite interesting because it was something that I learned from you, actually. However, it was actually one of your podcasts, which really just cemented the fact that I needed to work with you, was the idea of safety nets. And you were talking about how a lot of entrepreneurs, especially when they start off, they would get stuck on their income level. They get to a point where they reach their income level and they don't really go any further. And I was looking at what I was doing, and I was looking at the full situation of what was going on, and I realized that yes, while I had fully stepped away from the gym and all of that, one, I hadn't told them. I just actually decided, yeah, I'm stepping away, but we were in lockdown at the time. So I'm in Melbourne and we've constantly in lockdown. So I couldn't obviously go to the gym. So I didn't see a need to tell them. That was already one of my safety nets. And the other one was I was obviously relying on some income from my family. And that was so much safety that I realized that was actually holding me back. And so changing that mindset and actually turning around and telling my brother, hey, thank you so much for all your help. I completely appreciate it. However, I realized that this is actually hindering me now because I'm actually holding on to the idea that I'm still getting the income, and I really want to focus, and I completely believe that I can do this. And doing that, between that and I believe we worked together, actually that also compounded it. We worked together on having a conversation with money, like actually sitting down and having. I remember when I did that, I burst into tears.
So good.
And it was amazing. It was between both of that and having that conversation with money and realizing how nurturing and how amazing money is in my conversation. She's actually turns out to be quite female to me, and she just is there, and she was like, yeah, I was just waiting. And I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's so interesting because a lot of us have these stories around money that we grew up with, and whether that comes from our family or from movies and TV, there's a lot of interesting dynamics around money where it's almost like money has power over us. And when we shift the relationship and we do things like having a conversation with money and going through processes like that, it's like, wow, like you see money in a completely different way. And I've seen just from our conversations over the last like few weeks, even the energy is completely different. Even when it comes to like doing sales and sales calls and things like that, the conversations we had in October are very different than the ones that we have now. And it's like, there's so much ease with money. And like the energy that a lot of people can get into is like, I need to make more, I need to make more, I need to make more. And that's obviously, we have bills to pay, we have rent to pay, mortgages and things like that. But it's when we detach and essentially give less fucks about money. And that's why I called my method like the zero fucks money method, because yeah, we need money, but we need to take it off the pedestal and we need to see it for what it really is and shift that relationships, shift the dynamic around it. And that's when the fucking floodgates open and you end up quantum leaping in your business like you did.
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely this great feeling of not needing to stress where it's coming in. I would say there are definitely old stories that come up. And that's why, you know, I'm so happy to be able to keep going, is because it's like, hey, Kelly, this is coming up for me. And you're like, and sometimes I will say something and I can already hear your response. But it's always good to know that, and having continuously understanding that there is growth and there is change, there's expansions, as long as you trust that it will come. And the other one was knowing where it was going to go.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Money loves a home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And once you know where it's going to go, it's kind of like, oh, yeah, definitely. Well, of course.
Yeah. And I remember part of our conversation too, when you had one of your first big months, it was like, that's not really that much money at all. And that was kind of like because we put that, like that 10K mark, we can put that on a pedestal. That's a huge thing for a lot of entrepreneurs. And then you get it, and you're like, oh, this feels like this is normal. This is so fucking normal.
Yeah. And I remember you were like, what are you going to celebrate? And I'm like, why? And it wasn't because I didn't see it as a big win. It was like, but it's just that. And then I realized my reaction when you pointed it out, and I was like, oh my God, that is true. I was looking at it as if like, yeah, of course, when it was still one of my biggest months. And that was absolutely just, yeah, just looking back, even like talking about the 18K, while it's still exciting, it was kind of one of those like, there's a part of me, it's like, what did you expect? You know, in a good way, like, of course, what did you expect? Of course it was going to happen.
Yeah, this is who I am. This is my new level. This is my new normal. Yeah, it's just going to keep getting bigger and better.
I can't wait.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for popping on in here. I can't wait to hear more about the podcast, and we're going to be talking about that in the next few days. So
Yes.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what's happening for you over the next couple of months. Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
Okay, talk to you later.
See ya.
Bye.